When you picture Queen Elizabeth I, you probably imagine this: the Ditchley portrait, the Armada portrait, pearls, red wig, heavy makeup, regal and remote. But how close are these to the real Elizabeth? In her own lifetime, her portraits were propaganda, idealised symbols of power and purity. Yet contemporary witnesses left clues, and early portraits painted before the mask of youth reveal a woman whose real face we can still glimpse. Today, let's trace her features through the eyes of those who knew her and the brushstrokes of artists who dared to capture her truth. Elizabeth's earliest known portrait, painted around 1546 when she was about 13, shows her as a poised young scholar. Pale auburn hair, dark eyes, long fingers, and that distinctive long nose that appears in portraits throughout her life. It's formal, restrained, but full of quiet confidence. A decade later, when the Venetian ambassador saw her in 1557, he wrote that she was tall and well-formed, with a good skin, although swarthy, fine eyes, and above all, a beautiful hand. She wasn't a conventional beauty, he says, comely rather than handsome, but striking, intelligent, alive. When she became queen in 1558, Elizabeth was 25. Early reign portraits, like the Vice Gallery version, the Clopton and the Hampden, still show a relatively natural face: pale skin, reddish gold hair, dark eyes, long oval face, and that fine hooked nose. The National Portrait Gallery describes these as simplified but recognisable. The features that stay constant even when later artists turned her into an icon. These early images were painted before she was locked into virgin symbolism and divine allegory, back when people still expected her to marry. So what never changes? Descriptions and portraits agree on several key features. Auburn red hair, later replaced with wigs of the same hue. Dark, expressive eyes, often called black, though really deep brown, and actually some portraits show them being really dark grey. A high, fair forehead, sometimes exaggerated by fashion. A long, narrow face and aquiline nose. Slender build and graceful hands. Even as styles and painters changed, these elements remained recognisable. As she aged, the image of Elizabeth became less about likeness and more about message, propaganda. By the 1570s and 80s, portraits like the Darnley, Armada and Rainbow show her as timeless and ageless, the Virgin Queen made flesh. Heavy makeup, red wigs, layers of pearls, and elaborate symbolism, all crafted to suggest purity, strength, and eternal rule. But as the real Elizabeth aged, the gap between woman and myth widened. Then came a rare glimpse behind the facade. In the 1590s, a portrait from the circle of Marcus Geerarts shows Elizabeth wrinkled, human, and tired, but still majestic. Art historian Jonathan Jones called it a cruel unmasking of power, while Hannah Betts reminds us that by 1596 the Privy Council was ordering unflattering portraits destroyed. Elizabeth could not be seen to age because her youth symbolised the life of her realm. And yet eyewitnesses confirmed the reality. In 1598, a visitor described her as wrinkled with small black eyes, a little hooked nose and pleasant air. Still stately, still regal, but mortal. A year later, the Earl of Essex famously burst into her chambers before she was dressed and saw what no subject was meant to see: an ageing queen without her wig or makeup. So what did Elizabeth I really look like? Not the marble-skinned goddess of the Armada portrait, nor the frail ruin of legend. but a striking, intelligent woman with auburn hair, dark eyes, a high brow, and a face that bore the marks of will and wit. Her image changed, but her essence, alert, composed, commanding, shines through. Even under layers of paint and myth, she's unmistakably herself. Thanks for watching. I'm historian and author Claire Ridgway, and please do subscribe for more daily Tudor history. And tell me in the comments which Elizabeth feels most real to you. The young scholar in red, the poised queen of the vice portrait, or the ageing monarch behind the mask. I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.